Welcome back. I would like to continue with the rest of the sessions by calling Mr. Mohamad Shams al-Haq to please take the stage to chair the session. I would also like to call Mr. Mohamad Amin Hasbini to deliver his talk titled Investigating the Role of Information Security Management in Smart City Organizations. Mr. Mohamad, please take the floor.
My name is Mohamad Amin Hasbini, and my presentation today and my paper too are around investigating the role of information security management within smart city organizations. The presentation will have a flow around a small introduction towards smart cities and information security, then a small description of the research problem that we're trying to resolve, how we're trying to resolve it, what we're looking for, findings from the literature, and then a proposed model that we're looking to validate empirically, etc. So, keynote presentations today were extremely relevant to the things that I'm trying to do in my research around smart cities and information security. We're all moving towards the smart cities, whether we like it or not. Mainly because whether we like it for performance perspective, economic growth, or towards just managing the urbanization and the populations within the cities. Talking about that, if you open up the news in the last few days, you probably have heard about WannaCry. Brunel guys just sent an alert to around that. WannaCry ransomware, which was spreading and destroying all devices and systems, encrypting everything. And information security has become one of the biggest issues in our modern world and modern organizations. And if we're trying to deal with information security issues, we see a lot happening. And it's a problem. I'm a security researcher in real life also, so I do the investigation of cyber attacks. And it's a lot. It's actually a lot for everyone. Taking that into the smart cities context makes things even more intensive. In a smart city context, which relies by definition in the literature or by multiple definitions in the literature, it relies a lot on information and communication technologies, ICT, infrastructure and technologies. And that requires a lot of connected things, IoT type of Internet of Things type of systems to just be everywhere. And a cyber attack or an information security threat could be the cause behind a lot of damage. Move forward a little bit towards management. And managing all of these problems then becomes much bigger. Governance alone for smart cities is among the top priorities. One of the quotes by Forrester from Bellicent 2011 was around, what was it exactly? It was, governance is one of the most important factors towards smart cities. That's by Bellicent and Forrester. And add to that information security problems, we do have a bigger topic to deal with. Let's move a little bit further. What we're trying to study here in this research is around the effects of information security mismanagement and how to deal with all of these rising problems from an organizational perspective, how to deal with all of these information security issues in the context of organizations in smart cities, trying to predict and get to know better what are the factors that will be most influential on that specific aspect, information security management in smart city organizations. Key findings. There's a lot of discussions around information security and information security management, well referenced, well defined in the literature, though and even around smart cities definition, a little bit about smart cities governance, But then things become a bit more difficult when we talk about smart city and information security at the same time. That's just a recent search on Scopus, 22 documents, and much more difficult when we try to investigate information security management in smart cities. And therefore, this is some type of new research area that is being developed at the moment. I'm pretty sure you cannot read almost anything here, but this is the flow of the literature review. This is how the literature review was organized. I couldn't delete a lot. Let me see, does this work? So we started with a literature review around smart cities and organizations, and then inside the smart cities, information security aspects, organizational aspects, and then organizational performance aspects, because we consider that as our lens and our visibility towards what is most important inside an organization, its performance. We also did the same around organizations, information security, performance, and information security management issues. Literature findings were around highlighting, and that's part of our contribution in this work, highlighting the issue of information security management and the importance of this in the literature. Highlighting this as a critical matter that needs to be further researched. We also concluded two tables that I will be talking about in the next slide around the organizational factors that influence smart city organizations. You can see that here. And then the information security management factors that influence current organizations. So information security management in current organizations, and then the smart city organizational factors. And then we're trying to bind these to identify the top organizational factors that we expect that will be influential on smart city organizations. The list, I did not put the list here because it's a bit long and it's viewable in the paper. The list of organizational factors, we have different categories and subcategories, all highlighted with citation frequencies from the literature, etc. And these were used to identify a list of factors. That is the most important thing. The list of factors, organizational factors that we believe will be most influential on smart city organizations in terms of information security management. One of them could be leadership attitude, how leadership deals with and treats information security problems. Do they take them seriously or not? Investment strategy around that. How do they comply, for example, with legislations by countries? We've seen multiple countries now, especially in the region, enforcing new laws and rules around information security matters, especially countries moving faster towards the smart cities. Adaptation to rapid technological changes, and we see that in the news today. WannaCry is using a weakness that Microsoft fixed 2 months ago. But then no one installed, or many people, or many organizations did not install the update and therefore were vulnerable for the attack. And we see all of this mess is actually caused by a weakness that was disclosed and fixed months ago. That's part of being adapting to rapid changes. And 2 months is not very fast, actually. We expect things to be much faster in smart cities and smart city environments. Vendor selection, choosing and decision-making around the selection of vendors and the selection of technologies. That is very critical towards the smart city operations and how the smart city will be able to protect its own infrastructure. Also human capital, so the intelligence and the skills and the expertise of the people running the operations around the smart cities. We're talking about humans, and humans make mistakes. And the more mistakes they do, the more trouble we have. That's all part of developing a human capital around information security management. Better utilization of the infrastructure, the technological infrastructure, the ICT infrastructure, how to benefit and use it for the organizational sake, for the organization itself, to protect the organization to protect its data, its reputation, its clientele, etc. Type of organization and business model, and here it is about the type of business that an organization is doing, and the type of services that they are offering, and the type of service that they receive from other organizations too. This is all part of the impact that reflects also on information security management. Bureaucracy, it's also something that is definitely worth checking, and probably will be having less tolerance for bureaucracy type of matters in information security issues, specifically information security issues. A lot of automation will be done around decision making, but there will be decisions that need to be done by specific key people, and they need to be done like very, very quickly. Before the last, organizational compliance and support, and it is about the employee's ability to actually adapt, and the culture behind that, to actually adapt to the required changes, and to actually not click everywhere. WannaCry starts by people opening a certain document, clicking on a certain URL, a little bit suspicious if someone looks a little bit into the details of this document. Of course, it uses social engineering to try to trick the users. Last but not least, inter and intra-organizational collaboration, and it's about the information sharing in between organizations. Until now, we see a lot of organizations that are able mostly to operate on their own behalf, and they don't need anyone, they don't need to collaborate or share any type of information with other organizations, though that is changing, and there are even some rules and regulations and laws being enforced around sharing information, around information security problems specifically. That is basically the proposed model. I'd love to have some feedback on it. We're trying next to measure these are the proposed organizational factors that we think will be top influential in around information security management in smart city organizations. What we're trying to do next is actually rank these factors empirically, test and rank these factors through a survey type of work to see how much they influence actually information security management in the opinion of professionals and information security professionals and information security managers and directors. We're also trying to figure out the best option to integrate organizational performance as a lens to look at the problems caused by these organizational factors in terms of financial, reputational. These are all well defined in the literature, and we had a big discussion around that. How much time do we have left? 2 minutes? All right. Conclusion. So in this presentation, we presented the findings from the literature, how we were able to highlight the information security management as an important problem for smart cities and smart city organizations, but also to develop the research model, which we'll be testing in the next period or in the next phase as an empirical validation to be able to rank these organizations. That will help into validating these factors, but also into giving priorities towards organizations around where best to invest or where best to prioritize, etc., etc. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mohamad Amin Hassani, Kaspersky Lab, United Arab Emirates. So I ask you to question him, please.
Yes, thank you very much indeed. Can you please go to your model?
Yes.
Framework. So how you develop this? Are you measuring the performance or the security?
Here we're measuring the influence of these organizational factors.
Which one is the dependent variable, the performance or the security?
Here we look at it from the organizational perspective. We look at organizational performance as a lens. So it's actually part of the research design.
So which one is affecting the performance? Is the security or this factor?
It's the organizational factors.
The organizational factors.
So the organizational factors could have a lot of influence, including, see, this is the discussion I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
The organizational factors have influence, for example, on organizational performance, finances, I don't know, reputation, client lists, etc. But they also could have influence on other stuff, such as the culture of the organization or other similar organizational problems. And we're trying to have this organizational performance as a lens to look at the organizational influence on information security management. The goal is to just focus on specifically the impact around finances, so economic growth of the organization, or the other organizational performance subcategories.
Okay, in this case, actually, the model is not clear how you develop it, actually.
Do you have any recommendations?
You know, my recommendation is, yes, you need to see which study you base your model. What are the studies? Because you don't mention them here. Yeah, you have to mention first.
Okay.
What are the models that you are following? Mm-hmm. And how many variables they have? What are the gaps that you found? And then how you base your model. Otherwise, your model will not work like this.
That's what we're. That's exactly what we're trying to solve right now.
Because if you do like this, you cannot examine it. You have many variables, and these variables actually, some of them we don't know exactly what is the relationship. So you need to have a comprehensive.
These are independent.
Yeah, just 1 minute. You need to have a comprehensive review from where you get these variables. Go study by study, how you fill gaps, how you need all these, and how they are going to work. And then you are going to do interview or.
No, we're looking towards a quantitative type of work, so surveys.
It means that you are going to do survey.
Surveys with participants are information security professionals and managers.
Anyhow, just please try to base your model in good studies, and you have to show clearly how you develop it, what are the gaps, how you fill the gaps. Otherwise, you will not, the model will not work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yes.
Assalamu alaikum.
Well, just a second. Who will control the security in the smart city? It will be probably controlled by the government, and it is already happening now, and it will be just happening a bit more in the future. Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Any more question?
Yes. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. It's working. It's working.
I would like to know the weight of each particular, variable you have.
Mm-hmm.
Is leadership attitude the most significant factor?
Okay.
Is human whatever?
That's what we're trying to measure in the survey that is going to happen in the next phase. So we still did not measure the amount of influence, the weight of influence that that is done by these factors, but it's going to happen in the next step.
So the study is not yet finished or completed.
No.
Because otherwise you will give me some, like percentage. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah?
The study at the moment highlighted the importance of information security management in smart city organizations, plus highlighted the top organizational factors based on literature, the top organizational factors with citation frequency, etc., around the importance of these factors. So we believe these factors are important, but we still have not tested them empirically.
Thank you too much. I think I would like to...
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, Mohamad. Very interesting talk. But I have a question about the issue of smart cities, the concept of smart cities, the paradigm of smart cities. It's an emerging idea. It's a futuristic idea. What we call a smart city today, in probably 15 years, people will laugh at it and say what was smart about it? Because the word smart means many things. The integration of all the different technologies into this smart city has many implications. True. Social, economic, environmental, etc. I think most of these factors and parameters are welcome, and they will feed into prosperity.
True.
However, I think the main issue with smart cities is the issue of privacy and security. And this is the challenging task to humanity, how to make, because there is one famous saying, that attack comes before defense. So how do you see the issue of security and privacy being handled in the future based on your research?
Well, based on academic and non-academic research, actually, this would probably help in answering this question. Honestly, privacy-related issues are being given less priority. You can see your own devices. They're tracking location, they're tracking messages, they're tracking internet access, accounts, and every while we figure out that a new technology is using our data or selling it even to other advertising companies, etc. Privacy is being given less priority. Security, on the other hand, is being given a lot more. And there's currently even a proposition for some Geneva Convention, specifically around having international agreement to defend and protect organizations and countries. We've seen in the last few months, especially here in the region, a lot of attacks happened on government entities, a lot try to do espionage activities or just destroy operations, and these are not acceptable, whether here in the region or outside. So they are happening. In Ukraine, they turned off the electricity on multiple cities. In Switzerland, they almost changed they almost poisoned the people in a water company. I apologize.
I would like to stop here. Are you satisfied?